5.6 is the last section in Unit 2, and we're going to be solving equations containing decimals. This is just going to be a simple little review of what we've done in lessons past, so we'll go through this pretty quickly. You'll be able to use your calculator on all this algebra part on the exam, so we don't need to worry too much about the arithmetic at this point. We'll just depend on our calculator for support. So the first couple we have, we're going to be applying the addition and subtraction property of equality, which means you're going to add the same thing to both sides or subtract the same thing from both sides to solve the equation. Be sure and show your work on that. So the first one, we want to find out what x is, and they've added 3.7, so we're going to subtract 3 7/10 from both sides, and if you need to add that little 0 in there to help you, you can of course do that. So this is equal to 0, so we're left with x on the left, and on the right, we're left with 1 72/100. Do that on your calculator if you want. The next one, they've added this negative 6.1 to both sides, so we are going to make that 0 by adding 6 1/10 to both sides. This negative and a positive of the same value equals 0. They cancel each other out. So I guess that's actually y. And on the left side, we have 3, 9, 2. These would be negative. We have more negatives. Negative 29. Whoops. Sorry about that. 29.3. I hit my stand with my phone on it. Now we're going to be using the multiplication and division properties of equality, which means we can multiply both sides by the same thing or divide both sides by the same thing, and everything will stay in balance. So you can see this first problem right here is not written like this on your note sheet in your packet. So you need to get that corrected first. Instead of a 1 on the top here, it should be x, and the x should not be over on the right-hand side. So you can mark those out and change that. You can rewrite it down below if you want. So we're working the right problem. I don't know, my typing was goofy. So they've divided x by this number, so we're going to multiply both sides by 10 2/10. So those equal 1. So x is equal to, this is going to be negative because the signs are different. And if we multiply negative 4 5/10 times 10 2/10, my calculator says that it is negative 45 9/10 for our answer. This next one, they've multiplied x by negative 4 2/10, so we're going to divide both sides by negative 4 2/10. This makes 1x, that's what we want. And on the left side, I know this is going to be positive because the signs are the same. I'm going to divide on my calculator. And I'm getting x is equal to 6. Now, the last page that we have, we're going to be looking at more complicated equations, those that have multiple steps. So these are the steps that you need to go through. First of all, we've talked about considering clearing the fractions. Our book talks about clearing decimals. I'm not sure that's necessary. I think that's just another place to make a mistake, and then the numbers are much bigger. 100 times bigger, 10 times bigger, 1,000 times bigger, depending on how many decimal places you have in your problem. So because I'm going to use my calculator, I'm ignoring that particular thing. I'm just going to leave them in decimals. Step 2, clear the parentheses by using the distributive property, which we will do in the first one and the second one. Then we'll combine like terms on each side of the equation. And we'll use addition and subtraction properties of equality to isolate the variables on one side, and we'll isolate the constants on the other. Then we'll use the multiplication property of equality to make the coefficient of the variable 1. We know that. And then you can check your answer if you want, put it back in your calculator and see if it works. Okay, we do have parentheses in the first one. We cannot combine the terms in the parentheses because they're not like terms, so we're going to use the distributive property. 300ths times x plus 300ths times 4. Whoops, I keep hitting that. Which is 1200ths. And on the right side, we're still good with 100th x plus 2 8/10. So now I'm going to get the variables on one side, so I'm going to subtract 100th x from each side. So those are gone. And we're left with 200th x plus 1200ths is equal to 2 8/10. Now we're going to subtract 1200ths from both sides. And if I were doing this on paper and pencil, I'd need to put that 0 up there. So when we subtract, those are 0, and this would be 1 6800ths. Make that 2 6800ths. Sorry about that. I should have done it on my calculator. And we have 200th x on this side. So now we just need to divide by this coefficient. And x would be equal to 134 if you do this division on your calculator. Okay, we've got another one, and again we have parentheses that we need to clear out first. We can't add the x and the 6, so we're going to use the distributive property. So we have 500ths times x plus I'm trying to decide, is that I think it's a 6, so we're talking about 500ths times 6, which would be 300ths, or 3/10ths, or 3/30ths. This side is good. Nothing to do over here at this point. Now, there are no like terms to combine on each side, so we're going to get the x's on one side, the y's on the other. So I'm going to get this out of there. So I'm going to subtract 200ths x from both sides. So these are gone. And I'm left with 300ths x plus 3/10ths is equal to negative 1800ths. Now I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to move it over here, so I'm going to subtract 3/10ths from both sides. So these are gone. And I'm adding a negative and a negative. I can put that 0 in there if it helps me. And I'm looking at negative 4800ths. Now I need to make this coefficient 1, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3/100. So I'm left with x on the left. This is going to be negative over here, and I'm going to go to my calculator. And divide. Okay, I did not do that right on my calculator, so I'm doing it again. Divided by 3/100, and x is equal to negative 16. Negative because the signs are different. This one is a little simpler. We don't have any parentheses to clear. First, I'm going to get this over on this side with the constant, so I'm going to add 3 and 85/100 to both sides. So those are gone. I'm left with that on the left, and 12 and 48/100 on the right, and now I'm going to divide both sides by 2 and 4/10. So those are gone. Y is equal to 12 and 48/100 divided by 2 and 4/10. My calculator's doing all the work for me. And y is equal to 5 and 2/10. We're down to the last one. Same thing we did here. We're going to get rid of this, so we're going to add 14 and 4/10 to both sides. So these are gone. And on the left, we have 6.9, 69 and 6/10. So now we're going to divide both sides by 5 and 8/10. $69 and 6/10 divided by 5 and 8/10. Whoops, 69 and 6/10. I didn't put that in right. Surprise, surprise. And x equals a nice, neat 12. I know that 12 times 5 is 60. 12 times 6 would be 72. This is somewhere in between, so that's probably right now.